So hey, welcome back to Mrs. Wizard's Way. I've got another video on the worst teaching experiences I had in my 26 years. Let's get started. Everybody has bad days in their job. I understand that, I get that. And not every day in my 26 years was perfect. But most of them were okay, if not just ho-hum everyday work days. But I've got 4 today, 4 that were just not so great. Many of them took place a really long time ago, but some of them are pretty recent. So my first one today is I had a principal, and it was at the alternative high school I first started teaching at. I was new to teaching, I was really young, and the principal said, "Give her the credit." Now, mind you, I get it. I'm an art teacher. I'm an elective credit, I guess. But they needed so many credits to graduate. They needed like 21, 22 credits to graduate at that time. And it really sucked that he's like, "Just give her the credit." And I didn't do it. I just physically couldn't do that. That was just ethically not right. He didn't see a problem with it, but I pushed back, and he didn't push it too hard. But she still had to finish the art assignments she was supposed to earn her credit. But that one really put me in a sour mood. I really didn't like that. So that was the first one. It wasn't too terribly bad, but I really didn't like being put into that position. The next one, the same principal. He's about to retire, okay? He calls me into the office. And it's not like, "Oh, it's in trouble office thing." He calls me into the office. It's the very last day of school. This is the day that teachers have to report. We usually have a luncheon, say, "Hey, thanks for a good school year." And you wrap everything up, you turn in all your grades, you clean everything up, put everything away, put it away for the summer, and you go and have summer. It's that day. It's the afternoon of that day. We've had that luncheon. We have had time where I believe we even gave like a small baby shower to one of the teachers that was going to have a baby over the summer. Calls me into the office. And mind you, this is a long time ago. I have a almost 1-year-old in the house. He tells me, "Well, since I'm retiring and I was the one giving PE credit, we need to cut your position to half-time. You just cut my job, you just cut my salary in half on the very last day of school, the very last second, because you are a heartless little man." Thanks. Yeah, I was inconsolable. I was in tears. Luckily, I had full paychecks through the summer, because that's how teaching works. Yeah, we work those 9 months, but they spread our paychecks over 12, and so that ends at the end of August. So in September is when the new paychecks for the new school year start. So it's like, okay, I've got a little bit of time, but then I'm thinking, holy cow, all the jobs are gone. All the good jobs have been taken. If he had just said something a week or 2 before this, and he knew he was retiring, it wasn't like it was a secret, "Oops, I'm dying tomorrow, I'm not going to be here." No, he knew he was retiring. We had a party for him, which I helped plan. But he didn't think it necessary to tell me, the person that was going to get cut to half-time, that, "Oh yeah, you need to find another job." So I was inconsolable. I was like, what am I going to do? What happened at the end of that is that I was placed at the elementary level at this district. It's large enough that the person downtown, the art coordinator for our district, places teachers at the elementary level. And so for the next 2 years, I taught half-time alternative credits to high school kids who struggle in school. And then I spent the other half of my day teaching elementary kids, 400 of them in a week. Yeah, I saw them once a week for 45 minutes. It was a great experience, one I probably would not have wanted to do, but he didn't have the decency to tell me in advance, "Oh, I'm cutting your position." What didn't also was the stinger that he had no clue was happening, was that I knew that my marriage, my first husband, was failing. And I knew that this was the end. And so I knew over the summer that this is going to be the end. We need to call it quits. Yeah, it was definitely a really bad situation on top of the home situation that was happening as well. In the end, it worked out, but that was a very, very scary time. The next one, new principal. So that principal left. It's a new principal, still at that alternative high school. And I remember, I'm still really young. I am still in my 20s. I taught at that school for 6 years, so I'm still in my 20s. Because I graduated high school, went straight to college, got through college in 4 years, so I was really a young teacher. And so being the youngest in the building, which I was for a very long time, one of the other teachers said about the new principal, "Don't be alone with them." Great. Okay. So I kept that in mind. It's like, okay, I'll just never be alone with them, which shouldn't be a problem because if you're teaching, you have kids in your classroom all the time. My classroom was literally on the main hallway, right across the hall from the office. So there's always people around, so I didn't think much of it. But there was one time he was just chatting, and I made sure that I kept desks between me. And luckily in the classroom, the way I had it arranged, because it's an art room, I had my desk to one side, but then I had all the big art tables in a big rectangle. So it was pretty easy to keep something, keep there, and I was tidying things up, kept moving, so I wouldn't be trapped. So I never really felt scared with him, like he was actually going to act, and he never did anything. It was just that one time was really awkward at best. It's like he wasn't talking about anything that was really pressing and needed to be discussed or anything imminent. It was very, very weird. Now, I was only teacher under his, I guess, supervision for 2 years, because after that I moved to the school I retired from. But it was very, very odd. The weird thing is, I learned when he retired, I guess, his retirement is not like my retirement. He was escorted out of the building by security. And I hear that yelling was happening. I don't know this for certain. I didn't see this. I was not there. But the teacher who warned me gave me that tidbit later at a district level meeting. And I ran into her and she's like, "Oh yeah, that's what happened." So don't know if anything ever happened beyond that. I do know that he graduated a whole lot more girls from that school than all boys. Yeah. I wish I could say education was perfect. It's not. The last one I have, was scary, was really scary. As we know, teaching has become a dangerous profession, and I was no exception to having those scares. We get a threat to the building in the morning, and as we arrive, we're learning what's happening, and we're like, "What's going on?" And doors are locked. Like, why are doors locked? And we have to all go to one door we never have to go to. And this is before mega things are locked down. I mean, usually we would keep a few extra doors open in the morning, let the people get in the building, and then lock everything down. Then you'd have to go through the office. Not this time. We had to go to the office. And we're like, "What's going on?" So we get in there and we're starting, "Oh, there was a threat. What's going on? How do you know this? Are they're supposedly on the bus. Okay, so we have to meet the bus." Okay, and you're like, "Okay, that's great." Except my school had about 60 buses that would drop kids off. Oh, so they had to make sure which bus of these 60 that were coming in would it be. And then is it true or not? And the school that I was at had a main hallway, which my classroom was on again, where there's lots of windows. When my kids were little and growing up, my own children, they said that the school looked like a mall because it was so modern with lots of glass and open space. And so standing there on that main hallway, which wouldn't be a big issue if it was daytime, because like now in the house, even though it's lit here, it's far brighter out there, and so you really can't see into the house. Except our school started before the sun came up. And so I really felt like a sitting duck. I was like, "Oh, where," and your mind is thinking, "How do I keep safe?" And how do the kids are slowly starting to trickle in, and they're discovering that something's not right and what's going on. They're nervous. And they realize we're all sitting ducks because no matter what, even in the classrooms with the windows, so make sure I pull the blinds. And isn't it scary to know that your teachers, at least your good teachers, have a plan for if something happens, if there's an intruder in the building, or if there's something dangerous, that I know where to put the kids? Yeah, that's less than thrilling to know that your teachers know what to do if there's a disaster. My oldest did not come to my schools with me. She chose to stay at the local school where we lived. And when I learned they had not been having practices and they didn't have plans, I was contacting them. I was like, you need to have a plan. You know, there's a difference. My school was urban, their school was rural. And I'm like, your kids have guns. My kids might have guns too, but yours have rifles and shotguns and shooting things, you know, because they're all maybe going hunting with their parents or them, you know, just their relatives. So I'm like, you need to have a plan. And that's unfortunate. My plan in my room put everybody in a store closet. The reason that, and we could have gone out the window, but the building was in a field. And so my plan was to put everybody in this closet. The advantage with that closet was that it was protected with cinder blocks. And I figured, well, that's got to be safer than trying to, you know, run and flee. Yeah, I had the plan. Never had to use it. The kiddo that made the threat, they were able to capture. You make a threat like that, it's not good. You're not going to come back to school with us. You get permanently expelled. It is a bad situation. But that was really, really scary. Kids were, you know, you talk about a little bit of trauma for the day. Luckily, we get back into the flow of working and everything kind of settled out. And, you know, the kid that was the problem was gone. Kids probably knew so much more than we knew because, you know, they can say things on social media that we don't get to share. But yeah, that was not, those are 4 really, really bad experiences I had in my classroom. Luckily, as I said, most days are great. Most days are fabulous. I love teaching for most part. I love the interaction with people and kids and sharing what I knew and making sure that they knew what I knew and they could do a great job at it. That was awesome. But I had those 4 that were bad. So I'm glad you were with me today. See ya.